Cool, cool. All right. Welcome, explorers, to our 4th day of Physics Week. My name is Catherine, and we have a really exciting activity for you guys today. We are going to be doing some pendulum art. If you have never seen a pendulum or you're not sure what that word means before, it's just something that hangs on the end of a string, like so, and moves around a fixed point, just like this. And believe it or not, it actually has a lot to do with physics. But we're gonna have a little fun with it, and we're gonna get to explore some of those different variables through art. So let's go over real quick a few definitions that you might need to know. Mass is how much matter or stuff something has. Now, how much mass your pendulum has might impact the art that you can make today, as well as the center of mass. So where something is balanced, where the mass is balanced on your object, is going to determine kind of the pattern you get with your pendulum today. And acceleration, we talked a little bit about yesterday. That's how fast something is changing velocity. You might have experienced acceleration before when you were driving a car and you had to go from 0 to 30 in 5 seconds versus 0 to 30 over maybe the course of a few minutes, speeding up very gently. One had more acceleration than the other. And as we mentioned yesterday as well, force is just mass times acceleration. And when we're dealing with a pendulum, those forces that we're going to be dealing with involve gravity. So gravity is the force, in this case we're talking about Earth, the force that is exerted on different objects by the Earth. Now, on Earth we have a roughly uniform acceleration due to gravity. Remember, F equals ma, so whatever your object is, how massive it is, times the acceleration due to gravity, which is around 9.81. Now I'm throwing a lot of definitions at you, but the reason I want you to know what these things are is because they're all going to affect different things you can change about your pendulum to get different art today. Now, another thing you might be able to change is the length of your pendulum. That's going to impact how quickly it speeds back and forth. Kind of what we like to refer to in physics as a period, or a period of time that some motion is happening repeatedly. Okay, so enough explanation. Let's test it out for real. So I have a couple ingredients that you're going to need for today's activity. Number one, you're going to need a bottle of some kind, or maybe a cup, just something that you can hold paint in. And you are going to need some string. I also use tape. I find it easier to use a hole punch, but you don't have to. If you can be very careful or get an adult to help you make holes in your bottle, that works as well. So what you're going to want to do is take your bottle, cut around the outside until the top is empty and flat like this. Now, along the outside, I've punched a few little holes and strung the string through them so that it is balanced roughly in the middle, as best as you can. Now the bottom, what you're going to need is some sort of cap, and you're going to want to punch a hole through it. I've already done that with mine. I just used the little tack or scissors. If you want to ask a parent who can maybe drill a little hole for you in the cap, that's great. And then I put some tape over it just so that when I fill it with paint, the paint doesn't leak out before I'm ready. So you'll see I have a bunch of different colors over here, and I have a bunch of different bottles. So we're going to test a few different things and see if we can get some different art pieces. Now, I'm going to direct your attention over here to where we started. And it's pretty messy at this point. So I'm going to get rid of this masterpiece. Make sure you're doing this somewhere that is easy to clean. I would not recommend doing this on a rug or something like that. And you will need some sort of hole like this. I'm just using a broom over 2 chairs. And you're going to want to suspend your bottle over it like this, okay? And so you saw how this worked before, kind of lower down. And you just need to pick your favorite favorite color? Do you guys have a favorite color? I did some blue and orange before, so I think this time I'm going to try green. And I'm using washable paint. I do not want to stain my clothes or the room that I'm in. So you only need to pour kind of a little bit in there. And remember, the bottom is, oops, got a hole in it. So you want to make sure that you have it taped up like I forgot to do.
And Catherine?
Yes.
We have a request from purple from Miss Janice.
Ooh, purple. We'll have to make sure we do some purple next. All right. So I've got a little bit of green paint in there. And to make it flow a little better, I'm gonna add equal parts paint and water. Okay, don't need too much. And play with the ratio, whatever you like best. As well as if you change the size of the hole you punch in the bottom, you can get different art as well. So now that I've stirred it up, moved my paint away, let's see what we can do here. All right, pretty cool. And you'll notice that as it's doing this, it's kind of spinning in a different direction. I gave it a little push to start with. And interestingly enough, it's slowing down. It's gradually stopping. Do you have any idea why my pendulum might be losing momentum, losing motion? Well, it's actually because of the force of gravity. Gravity on the Earth is pulling it down in one direction, and it's starting to resist that motion that I gave it initially. Now, I don't think I gave this one enough water, so when we do it again with the purple, I'll add a little more.
We also have a request for red from Anthony.
Ooh, red and purple. Well, we have at least 6 bottles, so we can try a few different ones. I want to see how the speed of the bottle might affect the pattern that I get. So I gave it a tiny little push to start. What do you guys think? Should I give it a more gentle push this time, or should I give it an even bigger push? I think a bigger push might be more fun. I'm gonna add purple like Miss Janet requested. Add some water to it there. And you can you can decide to do one color on one sheet of paper, or you can do what I'm doing and try multiple colors at once and try to add to your patterns, which I think is kind of fun. And if you don't have water bottles or big cups like that, or if you just don't want to take up so much space with this art project, you can also do it with Dixie cups. That's another variation.
And we want a big push.
A big push.
Ryan.
All right, let's see what happens. Woo! Nice, and it got everywhere. So it's a good thing we're using washable paint again. And it gave us a much bigger pattern. And you'll notice that even though it's slowing down, it's making the same shape every time. It's oscillating over and over, making that same motion in a pattern. And one thing that physics is all about is discovering patterns, right? All right, this is getting very messy. Science is not always the cleanest thing, and that's what makes it fun. All right, so we did a very short length of string. What I'm gonna do now is pick it up and do an even longer one. All right, make sure it's balanced for you. Oops. What do you think is gonna happen when we use a longer string? Is my pattern gonna stay on the paper nicely? Is it gonna go further? Do you think our pattern will be smaller if we have a longer string? I think our request for the next one was red. So I will add a little bit of water. And I will add a little bit of red paint. And if you try this activity at home, let us know. Go ahead and share a picture with us. We would love to see what you guys are doing at home. Trying out some different science. Alrighty. Stirring it up nice. Let's see. what happens if we use a longer string? Wow. That's some really cool artwork. I've noticed that the red seems to have stopped. I wonder if it got a little stuck in the bottom there. Let's shake it up a bit. Whoops. Ooh. Yes, I would definitely recommend trying this activity outside. There we go. Ooh, and that was a really cool effect if you kind of shake it as it goes along. This bottle seems to be a little stuck. We'll try another one. Maybe some more paper, because this one is getting quite messy. And it's really cool, the more you do this, the more you can start to predict what kind of patterns you're gonna get. So initially, when I started doing it, I wasn't sure what was gonna come out of my design. It still looked really cool, but the more you do it, the more you can kind of plan what you wanna do. Create more interesting patterns. All right, we'll try maybe at least one or two more. If we have any requests for colors we haven't done yet, go ahead and let me know in the comments. We'll move this out of the way. All right, I think we still have blue, yellow, and green that we have not tried yet. Oh, now the red wants to come out. And I'll just push those to the side. Now another thing I talked about changing your pattern was the center of mass. So you've seen quite a few where it was nicely balanced. And what I want to do now is show you a bottle that has the mass kind of weighted to one side, so it's not very well balanced. And I want to see what that does to our design. So how about we use some blue? Okay, we'll add a little bit there. And remember to add your water. And I wonder if the red didn't work too well because I didn't stir it enough. Something to test out. So I'll try to mix this one a little bit better. All right. Here we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Still not coming out super well. I want you guys to be able to see the design. So I need a few scissors. And I'll just poke that hole a little bit bigger in the bottom. Okay, here we go. There. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa! All right, by changing the center of mass, you can see that our bottle is actually spinning around. It's rotating instead of kind of doing that straight line that we saw with the other ones. Really, really cool. All right, so we've tried a lot of small versions that you can try at home, preferably outside. But if you do make a mess, make sure that, you help your parents out, mop up. We are going to go outside though and try one big scale version of this. So let me grab some water. Let me grab some MOSI purple and some tape. All right, follow me. And if you have any questions, as always, go ahead and put them in the comment below. Open the door for you guys here. Welcome on outside. Okay, so we have set up outside a kind of more massive pendulum. So we talked about length affecting your design. And this is going to be much, much longer. So let's add some purple here. And we'll add some water. gonna do is we're gonna give you kind of an overhead shot of how this is gonna look. I'm gonna pull it pretty far back. And I'm gonna take off the tape that I put on the bottom here. And we're gonna see what kind of result we get. If you guys have any suggestions, if you want me to try to spin it or give it a push, 3, 2, 1. Well, it's going to have to be a temporary art exposition for us today. Let's give it a push in that direction, see what happens. So remember, this is a really fun activity to try out if you want to experiment with different factors that might impact momentum and inertia by changing mass, by changing length, by changing center of gravity. All kinds of fun things you can do to learn a little bit more about physics. Thank you for joining us again, explorers. I hope that you have a chance to try this out at home and let us know how it goes. And as always, keep discovering.